So, according to Google and multiple reports, the #1 job site on the internet is Indeed.com. I've had some really great success with them in the past, and the cool thing is, while you're on their job hunting, they're hunting for you too. I personally prefer the app version of Indeed.com, so if you don't have the app on your phone, go ahead and get that. And the reason I like that is because you can turn on notifications when an employer contacts you, when there's new job opportunities. It all just pops up conveniently, and I think that's a really great feature. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your profile is set up properly. And on your profile, you have quite a few different choices. The first one I like to enable is make sure employers are able to find you, especially if you're actively looking. Generally, if I'm already in a role, I have this turned off because I don't want my company to get the wrong idea. But if you're on the market, make sure it's turned on so everyone can see you. If you select employers can't find you, what that does is it makes it so only jobs that you've applied to in the past will be able to see that you're visibly looking. And then underneath that, you have your resume, which is, super convenient. If you click on the 3 dots in the top right corner, it's going to enable you to either replace the file, update it, or delete it altogether. Of course, you want to have a resume though, so make sure it's up to date and make sure that you have that current file uploaded on your profile. Then next up, we want to click on preferences. So the cool thing about preferences is you can add job titles here, and the more job titles that you have listed, the more options they're going to give you when it comes to jobs. So get a little crazy. If you've got the know-how and the job titles have been yours in the past, or you're already doing that type of work, put it into the job title section and it will provide you with opportunities based off of these skill sets. You guys have been watching the videos, so I'm sure you're well aware that I'm laser focused on being in tech. So I don't have any of the titles listed for the jobs that I previously did in retail. I also want to point out that my biggest opportunities with large corporations did come from here on Indeed.com. They saw my profile, they saw my resume, the recruiters reached out, they did the phone screen, I went through the interview process, and the rest is history. So if you are looking to stay with large companies, this is a really great avenue to showcase your skills. Then you want to select the job type that you're interested in. As I mentioned before, I always personally go for full-time, but that doesn't mean that part-time or seasonal or, being an intern can't lead to a full-time opportunity. Then next up, we have the work schedule, which gives you a ton of optionality. Here we'll do Monday through Friday, no weekends. We'll keep the weekends free for CareerStrats. And then you set up your minimum base pay. What do you think your skill set is worth? Do remember though, the higher the number you put in here, the less opportunities you're going to populate depending on the industry that you select. So for me, we'll cap it at 50,000. I'm not willing to go below that. And most sales jobs come with what's called OTE, which stands for on-track earnings. So while your base might be $50,000 to $60,000, the goal here is to sell. Your OTE could be $20,000 to $30,000 above that, or even better, uncapped. And that's the target you want to reach. Then you're able to put in your commute time, which is a cool feature. They didn't have this the last time I used Indeed, which was about 2 years ago, so that's pretty cool. My last in-person job had me driving 40 minutes to location and then 40 minutes back home, so almost 2 hours back and forth for the commute. So this is a nice addition, honestly. And then you have your relocation preferences. So if you're willing to move, great. That's going to open up even more opportunity for you. For me though, I am going to put no. Desired work types, I'm going to go with remote and hybrid. And then you have your qualifications tab. And under that, you can list your work experience, your education, your skills. And with the skills, I encourage you to go crazy. I don't know if you really need to list all of this, but it's worked for me in the past. So if you know it, show it. Then lastly, you've got your licenses, your certifications, and then your languages. So, make sure you get those in there. If you speak more than one language, that's always a bonus when you're on the job hunt. People love it when you're bilingual. So I encourage you also to put that on there. Okay, so now we're going to click on the 3 bars on the top right. And what we're going to do here is we're going to go over to account settings, and we're going to make sure that our profile is set to job seeker. Back in the day, I used to have this account tied to my retail job where I was doing hiring and staffing. So if you don't change your profile, it's going to say employer instead of job seeker. So you want to make sure you get that adjusted, especially if you've been hiring or staffing people yourself from Indeed.com. Then let's click on communication settings. On this page, you can manage your job alerts, your additional email settings. I honestly just leave all this turned on. The main thing we want to pay attention to here is application and recommended jobs. And then back under the communication settings, there's a bunch of other features here, but the only ones that I'm worried about are show online status and show read receipts. I leave both of these turned off. And then finally, you want to click on ready to work. This lets employers know you're ready to go. You're in the game. Let's do this. So now that the settings are out of the way, let's get on with the job search. So you're going to want to click on the home button, and then I'm going to change the location to remote. If you'll notice right underneath that, there's a little slider button, and that gives you access to all the different filters that you can put on your job hunt. They are also present to the right of the slider individually. I just like to get all the settings taken care of first before I start my job search. So for me, I'm going to select remote and hybrid. Then I'm going to select the sort by date. So I've noticed that when you get in early on these job applications, it gives you better odds. You want to be one of the early candidates. Then select the date posted. And then next we have a slider that says show only jobs with pay information. I personally would leave that unselected. I've been in interviews where the compensation was not listed on the application, but then once I got through the process, it was actually much more than expected. So I will leave that off. Under salaries here, I'm going to select $60,000 plus. Easily apply, we'll select that for all jobs. Job type, I'm going to rock with full time. And then for location, I'm going to select remote. It would be nice if I could select remote and my state, but that does not appear to be an option here. Company, we're going to leave on all. And then for experience, I'm going to select entry level, which is typically what a sales development representative role is. Education, all is fine. And then encourage to apply, I'll leave that off too. However, this is a great option if you fall under any of these categories. So now that you've got all your filters in place, start hunting. So after you've browsed and applied or saved a couple of different positions, you can click on the My Jobs tab at the bottom, and that's going to keep you updated on the progress of your job search. It's going to show you saved jobs, applied to jobs, and interviews that you have coming up, as well as jobs that you've archived in the past. And another great thing about Indeed is the Messages tab. So underneath it, if you've applied to a job already, or if a recruiter or hiring manager has reached out to you, we have access to those messages right inside of the app. Keep in mind though, if you have not already applied for the job, you're not going to be able to send them a message. And so it's been my personal experience that this is the best way to job hunt on Indeed. However, there are two other cool features on Indeed.com that I want to bring up to you. The first one's going to be the reviews tab on the website. This isn't something that's featured on the app, but it's definitely important. And I do want to point out that everyone's experience is going to be different. But when you see reviews for a certain role at companies, especially large companies, and it's pretty much worldwide across the board, everyone is saying this about that certain position, pay attention to it. Yeah, I honestly would say now I'm always paying close attention to Glassdoor, Indeed, and Reddit. I really want to know how people feel in the position that they're taking, what the pros and cons are for the role. You also want to look for things like turnover rate. So make sure you do your research. Don't just jump at the money. Take reviews into consideration, look at how the culture is, and see if it's ultimately the right fit for your life. And then the other Indeed.com feature I like is Salaries. It allows you to see what the top paying industries are, as well as search by job title. So you can see here on average, a store manager typically starts around $57,000, low end being $38,000, high end being $85,000. And then if you look at sales development representatives, most start at about $77,000, low end being $38,000, and then the high end jumping into up to $172,000 on average. And that's typically when you get into enterprise sales for really big companies or corporations like Microsoft, Dell, Google, the big players. And what I like about that is it gives you that perspective of, if I take the time to learn this skill, or if I already have this skill, can I increase my earnings by going after these type of jobs? So as you can see, job hunting on Indeed.com is super simple. Let's recap. Step 1, make sure you set up your profile. Step 2, adjust your settings. Step 3, job hunt and get in there. Step 4, keep track of your current jobs. Step 5, send messages and follow up on jobs that you've applied to. And then bonus steps, check out the reviews and the salaries on Indeed.com. If you're not able to message the recruiter or hiring manager directly on Indeed.com, check out this one. It will give you some pointers and tips on how you can achieve that. If you found value in today's video, I want you to like and subscribe like all your friends and family are doing. And did I miss anything? Is there any tips for Indeed.com that you've used in the past that has helped your job search? If so, leave it in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one.